going through this and having conversations where I'm like, okay, is it going to affect the baby? Does something go on around it that it's not good? Why?
All right, like I said, I told you that we can talk about the benefits.
Yes,
I mean,
yes. Let's talk
a lot
about
of them.
benefits.
Yeah, so let's talk about the benefits. Right. First of all, first trimester, first 3 months, you are 10 weeks to 12 weeks. The advice is if the woman is not demanding because of the change in her nomenclature, we are talking about now the fetus is trying to establish, and so there's a lot of immune challenges, and so the lady is vomiting, she's not feeling good, she's just unwell. Okay, at such a stage, if she doesn't demand for it, don't bother her because she's not in the right frame for sex. Secondly, it is the formative time for the fetus. So organ formation, new cells are being produced. And because of that, it is easier for a miscarriage if you do any vigorous movement. And so that is not a good time for vigorous sex. But when the person can cope and she doesn't have any problem with it and she demands, gentle sex would not be bad because it wouldn't affect it. The reason is simple. The fetus is encapsulated in an amniotic sac.
All right.
The sac itself contains an amniotic fluid, a huge one. And then all this is embedded in a very solid uterine wall. That's the uterus itself. So this protection is solid, that it can take all the shocks. But you see, for people who are prone to miscarriages, we even say that even if the road is bumpy, they shouldn't take it because it might stimulate or influence a miscarriage during the first 10 weeks. That's the reason why I would say be careful. But then, post first trimester, usually organ formation has gone very far and very, very little harm would happen to that baby for sexual acts. Okay? Then, the hormonal changes of a woman during pregnancy may not influence her demand or desire, especially the first trimester. But post first trimester, the hormonal changes are different. Okay? She's now in a very good mood, increased blood flow. Now she will enjoy sex even more because of increased blood flow and increased blood volume to her lower parts.
Yeah.
So this is the time that that woman would, maybe in her whole life, would experience orgasm. Maybe in her whole life, will experience multiple orgasms if she avails herself for sex. And it might even afford the opportunity to switch and experience other variants of sex. Because of her protruding belly, she might not be comfortable with the man on her. So she might either do the woman on man, or she will lie on the side. And she would be able to also experience other forms of sex, oral sex and all that stuff. That is the time she can explore other variants, which she hitherto might be a bit unaware of. Apart from that, this is the time that this woman would now be opportune to enjoy fondling of her breast, because this is the time that her breast is now a bit more full. A few people have breast tenderness. For such, no. But most people, they don't have tenderness, it's fuller. So that's the time they enjoy it more. Same thing with now exploring their clitoris, and then at that time, they enjoy it more. So that is the time you see some women, their whole life, only in pregnancy. So if you deny him of it, you understand.
Yeah.
Yes.
Apart from that, you see, sex in pregnancy improves the bonding
Yeah.
between the man and the woman. It improves her immunity, even for the unborn child.
Because she's happy.
Happier.
She's satisfied.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you see, she's concerned about her changes in body and she's worried. But if, despite all that, she's able to get that satisfaction to her husband and from her husband, then it means that she's a whole being. You get it?
Yes.
It improves her well being of herself. Apart from that, this woman, now you would understand that, especially towards the latter part of her pregnancy, you need her to have stronger and firmer pelvic muscles. If she engages in sex, this improves, just like the Kegels we're asking people
yes,
to do,
yeah.
it improves all that. So it would make it easier for that woman to deliver per vaginum than for that woman who has always been lying there and not doing anything, because she has stronger pelvic muscles. And the spasms she gets during the orgasm also would improve her uterine what? Contractions, which she needs, especially towards the delivery process. Do you get it? Apart from that, it's been observed that semen contains certain things, HLA-G factors and things, which help improve the immunity of the mother and even assist her in patrician, child labor, child delivery.
Yeah.
You get it? So we are saying that if there are no health restrictions, it is good. But don't let it be an obsession for the man. Let it be a demand from the woman. It's better. So because you see, the belly weight and thing sometimes creates exhaustion and tiredness. And sometimes they are tired. But you see, there's a good thing about the sexual act in pregnancy. It gives them good sleep, which is necessary, very good. If somebody is exhausted and the person does not sleep well, it worsens the scenario. So if you can assist and do something to make the person sleep more or sleep well, that's good. So it releases and it takes away the stress from them. Did you get it?
Yes.
Now, another thing that is very interesting is that, but for a few people who we say be careful because we get a few people who have their placenta at places that hitherto shouldn't be. They are having what we call placenta previa. The placenta is very close to the cervix. So when you have sexual act, it might stimulate bleeding. So for such people, we say no, or be careful towards the end.
Towards the end. All right.
So that they don't bleed, because bleeding might cause some problems for the child, because their placenta is very close to the cervix. But hitherto, the placenta is on the fundus or around the sides. Such places, you don't have the sexual act affecting the placenta in any way. Do you get it? Yeah. Another thing that should interest you is this. Where the cervix is not intact, either because there is some fluid gush, that is, there's some breaking of the fluid, the amniotic fluid is passing out. That one will say be careful, because as long as there's fluid coming from the baby's area, if you have any sexual act, you can pass on infection. And so for such, we say no.
In
Okay.
every stage.
Yes,
Pregnancy, as long as there is-
usually for such people, we would admit them into the hospital and put them on antibiotics and monitor them, because as long as the fluid is coming out, it's a channel for infection.
Channel.
So we are careful with those ones. Largely, the benefits of sex in
Outweighs.
pregnancy outweighs the disadvantage. It's only that you see, typically, men,
You're
we are
afraid.
just afraid. we are afraid because
Something's
we
gonna
know
happen.
that baby is so fragile, and we are so interested in seeing the best for the baby, and so we don't want to do anything that will harm the baby. In fact, a freshly born baby it's a scare for the man. Give it to him, he will run away.
Yes, and sometimes when they hold, they're like this.
Exactly. So all that might affect his ability to perform. But if the woman is fine, the man should help himself to understand that the act stays just in the vaginal pathway. The cervix is blocked. It's blocked and plugged.
Seal
Until
the day of delivery.
So there's no harm
There's
to the
no
baby.
harm. Perfect.